Welcome to Milers Mods, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the best bargains of 2024. And when I say bargains, I mean these are deals that I found on like Amazon, or the product was so good and the price was so cheap that I just couldn't say no. And in fact, I ended up buying it multiple times over because it was such a good product or whatever. And some of these things were the reason why that they weren't included into the best blasters of 2024 is that some of them they were older releases, but yet the price dropped so well, or the price gotten ridiculously low. You'll see what I mean as I go through the video, but let's begin. There's several criterias for stuff like this. Like the first one here. This is the magazines from Dark Zone for like the Nexus X, the Striker, things like that, right? Now, I say these are a decent find, okay? The reason being is they're textured, okay? Unlike worker mags that aren't textured or anything like that, these are textured, and I think that's a superior quality. Okay, that to me, this is a great improvement over the other Adventure Force magazines that they had in the past. These are more talent esque, and they're textured. So if your hands are wet, because you sweat or whatever, it's not going to slip out of your hand as easily. I mean, these are really great. The only downside of these are 12-round magazines. I mean, they're priced appropriately. The talents, these are like $9 or $10, something stupid like that. But yeah, these are really nice for what they are. I was surprised to see these magazines in the grab them. As soon as I grabbed them, I'm like, these are really premium quality mags. Okay, so a toy company like Darts are introducing premium quality mags. That's one thing. Another thing was certain blasters and certain kits became really cheap in 2024. And when I say this, you'll see what I mean. The first one is a blaster kit from AK Blaster Mods. This is a C330. Okay, this is just a bolt action target blaster. Okay, it does about 170 FPS or so. It's a nice little blaster. Costs about $100. All right. Now, this blaster here was when I buy a kit, I'm usually very skeptical. Right? Is it all going to fit together? Am I going to be short pieces in this, that, the other? Because I've had a nightmare of stores in the past. I've had to make many trips to hardware stores, basically. So it is what it is. But this blaster here, it comes in kit form. It's a really nice blaster. Performs really well. It's a nice little target blaster. It's a very addictive blaster. There's many times I'll just sit there and just randomly have target practice with this thing just because it's so nice and so fun to use. For $100, it definitely did surprise me. I mean, it's just that. Another thing that we got down the road was that certain prices started to drop, and we started seeing blasters on sites we shouldn't have or whatever, such as this guy here. This is the Razor Caliber. Okay, also known as the Razor Pro. Kind of. Okay, also known as the S300. Kind of. Okay, what this is that ZWQ originally was going to have his blaster made into the Razor Pro. Or, excuse me, not the Razor Pro, but the S300. Okay, but the plans got stolen or leaked or whatever, and the Razor Pro was born a couple months later. The Razor Pro was a really nice blaster. It had a metal upper receiver, much like this one, nice polymer lower, and it took talent mags. Well, the only place that sold it was Black Raisins. Well, I don't like Black Raisins. They charge too much money for what their product is, and they're not very kind to people. I'll put it that way. And their product's not really the best quality. So I looked at the price. The price of Black Raisins site was like $400. I was like, nope, not for that. You know, I'm not taking that big of a chance, right? So I passed. So this year, 2024, I was looking around and it was either on Xanadu or M460, I forget where. I saw this guy here. This was a razor color. I looked out like, holy snap, that's it. This one is $185. It's not $400. Okay, or $450. You know, this one when you get it, it's still got the same aluminum upper, still got the same polymer lower. The only difference is you got to do a couple modifications to it. Okay, to get it to shoot 250, the only thing that you got to do is you just got to change out the spring. This is an 18 kilogram saber spring. Okay, the same ones for the Apex, just 18 kilograms that I cut down. Okay, and I extended the barrel. After that, the blaster does 250. To make it take talent, all I did was I just kind of hollowed out the mag well a little bit, you know, because it's very close to taking talent. You just take a knife in a couple minutes of your time, and you're done. You know, but for what it was, this blaster really surprised me because when I got it in, the build quality was just phenomenal. You could tell by when you pick it up in your hand, you could tell this is a premium blaster. You know, and that was that's one of the reasons why it made it to the list, because this really does feel like it performs like a premium blaster. You know, and I was just amazed at it. You know, that the person whoever designed this blaster, if I can ever find him in China, I swear I will give him money. I will send him money via PayPal because this blaster is that good. And he deserves a tip or a gratuity or something. You know, but that's the thing about this blaster. You know, I was impressed because of the build quality. Not so much the price, but the build quality of it was an amazing build quality. And that's one of the things that made this thing an incredible purchase of 2024. Now, we also started seeing other things showing up on Amazon. We started seeing a lot of ZWQ products showing up. Really cheap, too. One of the things that we saw darts. Now, these are the same darts that come with the War Saint, the Bays, the Fire Rat, the Viper. These guys here. These darts are $15 for 200 pieces. That's the cheapest out there. Okay, these are 1 gram bamboo darts. Okay, they look kind of like they're four ring bamboo darts, kind of like worker bamboo darts in a way. Okay, I mean, I'm gonna try to get you a good picture, but that's what they look like. You know, they're really nice. You know, but these are 200 pieces for $15. Okay. Every chance I get when I'm on Amazon and I'm buying things, I always try to buy one of these, at least one box. Okay, I have several boxes. There's several guys that I know that are YouTubers that buy these as well, and they use them in testing. One, because they're extremely affordable. Two, they have pretty good glue on them. You know, they survive about 380 to 390 FPS, which is pretty good. You know, another thing is they're really consistent. Okay, they're more consistent than worker darts, and dart zone's consistency has fluctuated a lot over the last year. Like with the last batch of nitro shot darts I got, they weren't so good. You know, and I bought 2 boxes for testing just to refill packs. You know, but it is what it is. Now, other things that we saw coming onto the scene was that we saw a new scar from Dart Zone. Okay, and I say this, and I mean this. Okay, this is a Dart Zone roller scar. This is a $20 bearing scar. $20 freaking dollars, and it's injection molded. That's phenomenal. That is a phenomenal deal. Okay, that right there is the cheapest you will see a bearing scar for. Okay, this bearing scar is good up to 250 FPS or so. It's just under 300 before this bearing scar starts to act wonky. You know, but it's a phenomenal deal. It really is for $20. Okay, every time that I go on DC's site, you know, whether if it's to buy a magazine or a spring or whatever, because I'm always buying something from them. I always see if these are in stock, and I always order at least 1 or 2 packs because they're $20 a scar. That's dirt cheap. Now, other things that we saw on Amazon was we saw blasters too. More ZWQ blasters, to be more specific. There was the Airsoft Mega Store. Such as you could buy this thing here. This is a ZWQ S100S Blase. Okay, this one is an upgraded blaster, to be more specific. I ended up modifying it. These blasters are very easy to tune. Okay, these blasters normally on like a hobby site like Frontline Foam or Out of Darts or M416 or wherever. These are like $200 blasters. Okay, on those sites. Okay, and they only have very limited coloring. You know, such as most places don't sell the white. Okay, but on Amazon you can buy this blaster not for $200 but for $80. I'm not kidding you, $80 for a blaster like this. It shoots 170 out of the box, but if you install a bigger spring in it and a longer barrel, you get sub 300 very easily. You know, so you can do it for very minimum parts, and you have a 300 FPS blaster. You 3D put in an adapter, and it takes Talon magazines. That's what this is. This is just a 10-round Talon mag. You know, I mean, it functions perfectly fine. Everything, you know. The only bad thing about it, this thing is the mag release. But they make metal mag releases. That's what this is. So for like less than $100 total, you have a 300 FPS blaster. That's a steal, you know. And that was on Amazon this year. Now the other thing was, and again, it's a ZWQ blaster. And I'm sorry. I know you guys are thinking, well, why is he talking about ZWQ? But it's what it is. This is the Warsaint. Okay, when this blaster came out a while ago, I wanted one, but however, I heard bad things about it. Like the shell was very poorly made because of what it was made out. So ZWQ stopped making that version and they fixed it. See, now ZWQ likes to fix their product. They like to make it better, you know, if they find a platform that they go with. And they fixed it. So what they did was that because it had a weak shell and other failures, they fixed it. Like the thing that he did was that they polycarbed the shell. This is all polycarb. This is clear. This is polycarbonate. But we saw this one on Amazon for $80. Okay, again, for $80 and the cost of a spring, you got a 280 FPS blaster. And you 3D print an adapter, and it takes Talon magazines. That's pretty cheap, you know. And I thought I would never see these prices. Like, if you buy this blaster from a hobby shop, like M416 or Xanadu Toys or any place like that, it's $150. End of discussion. $150 down the toilet. $80 on Amazon. So I definitely say that this is a steal at that. Between this, the Blase, you know, the darts that they sell, there was a lot of really good deals this year. You know, I mean, honestly. You know, because people always say, well, what deals have you found? What deals have you found? And I say, well, I found this, so I found this. And they're like, are you sure? Are you sure? Do you know how I test a lot of times to make sure these deals are good? Either A, I'll buy the item myself, or like with the Warsaint here. Right? There was a bunch of us that wanted them in Saber Discord. We saw the link go up. Well, I didn't want to buy it because I've never heard of the place before, you know. Well, Dorian, he's like, I'll buy it. He jumped. A couple days later, we're like, hey, man, did that ever show up? He's like, oh, yeah, look. Shows it up in the air. I'm like, all right, site's legit. Let's order. And then we ordered. And it's a real ZWQ Warsaint, you know. It's no copy or whatever. It's a Gen 2 War Saint. You know, this is a Gen 2.5 base. For $80, that's a steal, you know, considering that these blasters are anywhere between $150 and $200, and you're getting from them for less than $100. Everybody should jump on that. But these were the best bargains that I found this year. And I found a few of them, you know, a really nice dark find, some really nice mags, and a few nice blasters, you know. I'm just wondering what kind of deals did you find this year, the entire year? And it could be anything. Did you find a really good dark type? Did you find some really nice blasters? Did you find some really nice mags? I'm wondering. Well, in any event, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like it, to subscribe. And until next time, this is Smiler's Mods signing off.